everybody, and welcome to Optimism Fractal. We're here at our 27th event, and I have the pleasure to be here with Abraham and Rosmari and Zaal and Jean. We have the second Optimism Town Hall coming up after the Respect game. So for anybody who's not familiar, I'm going to share a little presentation about Optimism Fractal and about all the cool stuff we're going to be doing today. So if anybody here wants to share any thoughts, then feel free to say hello or anything like that. Otherwise, I'll jump into the presentation and try to make the most of everybody's time. Thank you so much, everybody, for being here and watching this. I hope that you have an amazing time being at the event and hope that you'll join us. And thanks to everybody for being here. Okay, so you could check out optimismfractal.com to learn more about Optimism Fractal. Optimism Fractal is a community dedicated to fostering collaboration and awarding public goods creators and optimism, building an abundant future with the Optimism Collective. And it is a great place to meet optimists at our weekly events, really talented innovators, and really great place to foster collaborations. We meet every Thursday at 17 UTC, and everybody's welcome to join. And at each Optimism Fractal meeting, we play the Respect game, an innovative consensus game and process where players work to reach consensus on who's helping optimism the most, and really it can be used all around the world for all sorts of different purposes. So you'll see that in today's episode, and we'll all play together. And it's also a great place to promote your work too, since we produce videos, really cool, beautiful videos each week to promote public goods creators and help grow optimism and achieve the optimistic vision, create a better future where public goods creators are awarded. We have a Notion site where you can get involved and contribute to the development of Optimism Fractal, and also people who contribute to the development of Optimism Fractal and in general help grow optimism are eligible to earn retro funding by creating a positive impact. So more details you can find on optimismfractal.com. We also have a community governance process with the Respect game, and we recently launched a new event called Optimism Town Hall as well, and we're building tools that allows anybody to play these games and reach consensus and make decisions and foster collaborations with these tools. Our event page, lou.ma/Optimism Fractal, every Thursday at 17 UTC. As I mentioned, everybody's welcome to join, and we really encourage you and appreciate when you invite friends to help spread all the great stuff we're doing here at Optimism and with Optimism Fractal. Check out our videos at optimismfractal.com/media. We recently released a video about retro funding and how people can earn funding by helping the collective and helping Optimism Fractal, and about designing our consensus games, and testing Onchain and collecting culture, and all sorts of stuff you can check out to learn more. There's also a YouTube channel up there where you can find, and we appreciate when everybody subscribes, and then you can explore lots of projects and stuff. If you want to get really involved and help out, we appreciate it. And there's lots of ways that you can contribute on the Optimism Fractal Notion site. For anybody who's not familiar, optimism.io, you can learn more about how the Optimism Collective is building a world that benefits all and owned by none, doing really amazing stuff with the Ethereum network to build a better future. That's what we're working with Optimism Fractal, and optimistics.io. Optimistics is the team that started Optimism Fractal originally, although it's very much a community-run effort. But you can check out optimistics.io to see some of the tools that we run and other events that we host, like Eden Fractal, where we are pioneering these processes every Wednesday at 7 UTC, and we welcome everybody to join too. You can learn more about what we're up to and the various events that we host here, and feel free to reach out with any questions or comments. So we're going to play the Respect game today. I mentioned a little bit about it, and everybody here I think is familiar, but we're each going to share what we're doing to help optimism and then work to reach consensus. We have an article here where you can learn exactly how this works, but I think everybody here has a very good idea of how it works already. So anybody who doesn't, check out the website, and also you'll see it in the coming episode. And then also try to just briefly share a presentation about the Optimism Town Hall too, because this is a new event that we have, and we're launching our second event ever for the Optimism Town Hall today after the Respect game, and that will start for anyone who wants to stick around at the top of the hour at 18 UTC. So starting in season 3, well, we recently started Optimism Fractal season 3, and then we approved a proposal to also start a new event and play a cagendas game, which is a consensus game to create agendas where we vote with respect on topics to discuss that are helpful for optimism and Optimism Collective and Optimism Fractal. So everybody's welcome to join Optimism Town Hall and invite friends as well. We think this will be a really exciting, it already is a really exciting initiative. I think it'll be really helpful for the entire Optimism Superchain and the world in general. So you can see the new event page here, lou.ma/Optimism Town Hall. And we recently released a new article to optimistics.io/Optimism Town Hall 2, where you can learn more. It's a new weekly event and collaborative forum dedicated to hosting impactful and structured and open conversations about optimism and using respect to optimize meeting time and help prioritize topics and deliberate and form consensus. All sorts of cool stuff you can see in this article, like the cagendas game and next steps and how you can get involved. And then just for a bit of backstory too, this was approved with the Optimism Fractal Council, which you can learn more about on the website when you go to the Optimism Fractal Council of respective community members. There's proposals, which we approved to start this event, and you can learn more about the agendas, how anybody can propose topics to discuss in the Optimism Town Hall, and you can check out the new snapshot space too. So I encourage everybody to propose topics if there's anything they'd like to discuss at the Optimism Town Hall. You can also see a summary that Rosmari shared in the Optimism Governance Forum too about the Respect game and a new game that we're introducing this week, which is a cagendas game. It's building on cagendas and allows us to play agendas with multiple topics and do it in a more dynamic way during the events too. So there might be a lot of information here too. So feel free to just like relax, and you don't have to know all this, because we'll go into more detail about this during the Optimism Town Hall event later. And also we have a video where we talked about some of this from last week's event as well that you can see here and on our channel. But yeah, basically after the Respect game, then we're going to be playing a new game called Optopics, or rather Optopics or Optopics. And we have a new kind of a friendly mascot here called Opie the Optimist too, or Opie the optimistic octopus. So this game basically, we'll get into it basically, but the way it works is that people can suggest topics in the Optimism Discord, and we're going to be having fun and helping with governance and doing all sorts of cool stuff together. So there's an article here where you can learn more that we'll go over afterwards, and you can see the proposal and the game rules, and also a new channel that I created in the Optimism Fractal Discord chat, along with some topics that I proposed to for today's event about Optopics, about Optimum Town Hall, about Optimum Collective and Base. So all that stuff we can get into more later, but I just want to give a little brief introduction to it. And now we will get into the Respect game. So each of us will take turns, up to 4 minutes each, to share what we've been doing to help Optimism. And generally, feel free to just share whatever else you think might be helpful for the audience to know. And then we'll get into the Respect game. We'll rank each other's contributions, earn some respect, and then do the Optimism Town Hall afterwards. That's my presentation for now. I hope that you all enjoyed. If there's anything that wasn't clear there, then feel free to also ask any questions or share any thoughts. Thanks for the applause, Will. Appreciate it. Thanks for the heart, Zaal. Appreciate it. I appreciate you all being here and appreciate all the support. Great to see Abraham. And oh, lots of hearts. Rosmari heart too. Hey. Okay, cool. Well, yeah, does anybody want to go first in the Respect game or share any thoughts? And Abraham with the heart. Really appreciate it. Thank you so much, everybody.
I can go if you want.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay. All right, I'm gonna share screen. Hopefully it works. Okay, I got desktop 1.
Sounds great.
2. Okay, are you guys able to see a photo of a rickshaw?
No, I don't see any screen being shared right now.
Okay, double check what's going on here. Oh, here. Okay.
I'm imagining a rickshaw in my mind right now, and it seems like it must be really cool. Okay, now I can see something.
Okay, there it goes.
Yep.
Okay, there you go.
Yep.
Cool. Okay, so I've been working for a couple years on this effort to help people in Pakistan who are unable to get education, especially people in rural areas. The idea is that we are donating funds so that there can be school buses to take kids to school and they can get educated. So we've got 2 different bus drivers, and I'll tie this all back into to Optimism and crypto in a minute, but I'll show you this. So we've got, there's basically, we are paying 2 different drivers to go and pick these kids up every day. And when you're working with somebody in another country, it can be like kind of hard as a donor, just because you don't really know if the work is getting done. You want verification, stuff like that. So my thought was that I could design an Android compatible website that would allow us to give donations for this cause and maybe any other, as a sort of as a public goods application. And essentially they would be able to take a photograph and then prove that they have done their work for the day. And then there would be some kind of maybe incentive program where, like, a donor would donate money, and then that would go into a pool, and there'd be tasks, and when they complete a task, the funds get released, they can see their tokens and stuff. So I've been kind of building this thing in the background. I'm gonna share that real quick. Let's see here. Share. Go here. Oops. Here's this. All right, so this is the application. So I'm gonna connect MetaMask. hopefully my Zoom stuff out of the way here. There we go. All right, sign. So it's a wallet authenticated login, and this would be like the dashboard for people to come in and there would be two different views, one for a donor and one for a worker, and potentially one for administrator. So you can see all this kind of stuff. This is just fake data for right now. And then there's a couple of other areas that you can go into. But the main one is this photo capture thing that I've been building. So it'll take a second to come up since it hasn't been loaded. But essentially it allows you from the browser to use your camera and take a photo and then send it in. And so the next part is I'm just going to connect that with a blockchain transaction to verify that the photo came in, probably have it go to an administrator, at least initially. Okay, so you should see this coming in. Okay, there's my moving photo. So I take a photo and then you see it's a still shot. Then I can send it and all that kind of stuff. So that's kind of a fun thing that I'm doing. Eventually, I want to be able to see, that they're going to be able to see their earnings in this dashboard and stuff like that. So I'm excited about that. I think that that could be really useful for outreach programs of any kind that need to verify that something has happened in the real world. Essentially, you can assign a task and someone does the task, and then you can verify it by seeing the photo that they've taken. So that could be really cool. I'm excited about making that a public good. I'll probably try to apply for some retro funding on that. And then I've held some Optimism voting tokens for quite a while, and I finally found time to go in and delegate them. So I am now able to vote, and I've got a delegation statement and all that kind of stuff. So trying to get a little bit more involved in the actual governance and knowing what's going on in the collective. That's it for me.
Super cool. Thanks so much, Abraham. Oh, I see Will raise his hand. You want to go ahead, Will?
Yeah, Abraham, do you see this as a tool that could develop into an impact reporting tool for public goods? Kind of like, I don't know if you're aware of Hypercerts or Karma Gap, but those are the two predominant tools. Those are more like self-executed tools, right, to determine the impact. But I feel like with this and a little bit of automation behind it, plus also just think how beautiful it is that you could use this not only to verify impact, but you could use it for distributive rewards as well. So I don't know if you're far enough down that path or not.
Okay. Yeah, I've heard of hypercerts, but I've never looked into them. I'm gonna write that down so that I can see how that can dovetail in there. Thank you. What was the other one? Hypercerts and
Karma Gap. I think the
Karma.
official link is gap.karma.xyz. But if you go to at karma HQ underscore on X, that'll get you to the official link as well.
HQ. Okay, I'll check it out. Thank you so much.
Yep, no worries.
Yeah, thanks for the great presentation, Abraham. And the recommendation, Will also has a page on Karma as well, where I could perhaps follow up and share some links in the Discord chat afterwards as well, where you can see an example and see some of the stuff that Will's been up to. I learned about Karma from Will too, and it's really cool. Would you like to pick somebody? Oh, sorry if I was interrupting you. Feel free to say whatever you wanted, or if you want to pick somebody to go next, Abraham, whenever you're ready, feel free.
Let's see. Will, you're next in line in my Zoom meeting. Are you ready to go ahead?
Yeah, I can talk about it. I was trying to get the proper screen ready for sharing, but I can talk.
That's fine. Can I share real quick then? I gotta go. I gotta be
you gotta grow right ahead, Zaal. Grow right ahead.
Thank you, appreciate it. I'm just gonna go real quick. I'm moving to the East Coast, so I've been pretty busy, but I have created the Zaal fractal plan. This is an initial plan for how to incorporate the fractal into what we're building at the Zaal and start implementing community points. This is just kind of a draft document for how I want to incorporate some of the opportunities here that we're building here and implementing in what we're doing. And we have a weekly meeting as it is, where we jump into breakout rooms. So my goal is to ultimately transform that into utilizing it for the respect game, but for music and Web3 as a whole. So this music enthusiast and Web3 enthusiast community that I'm trying to build, I want to just kind of give people rewards for people that are actively participating. And I think participating in our events definitely lends credibility to governance for our community. And one of the things is I want to build in public and I want to get community buy-in. So I think this will be an awesome opportunity to kind of start rewarding people in our community that are doing things for and doing things that are in line with the vision of the Zaal, which is just bringing margins back to the independent artist.
Excellent. Thanks so
And I'll
much.
let Will go now.
Sounds good. If also Will, if you want somebody else to go as you're getting your presentation ready, then if anybody else wants to jump in who's more ready, then feel free to. And also, it looks like Will started sharing a screen, so maybe Will's ready, and feel free to go whenever you want.
Over, so you guys can see my screen, yeah? Good.
Yes, we see Charmbrus.
Nice. All right. I was not in attendance last week. My apologies, family. I had a Web2 commitment that superseded this meeting. But I'm a big fan of what you're doing. I had signed up for, I think, last week's session to be a council member, whatever. I don't know if I'm disqualified or not, or if I need to reapply, but we'll get to that later. But what I wanted to show you is because the week prior, we closed our grant funding exercises that were a side opportunity to Gitcoin Grants 20. And it wasn't like a full focus. Like we weren't fully in the focus of Gitcoin Grants 20, but we were still fundraising for Gitcoin Grants 20. As a result of that funding round that closed based on any core funds that were contributed to our Learn to Earn program, and I can get on all the details on that in a minute. But our Learn to Earn program was our primary focus for funding that. But based on that, we've already went out and we've acquired the tokens that we said we would acquire to be able to effectively build that into our Learn to Earn program. So I just wanted to kind of see you guys in action. You guys are kind of getting a sneak peek, opening up the hood of the car a little bit to see what's inside the engine. So this is our rewards mechanism inside of Charmbrus that we apply to all of our course material. It doesn't matter if it's like a predefined course that we have here against our master class, or if there are these live learning sessions, of which we're getting more traction. And by the way, anybody who is of an artistic nature, it doesn't matter what art form, you're cordially invited to come host one of these sessions if you so choose to, and give our community a little flavor of what you produce from a creative perspective. So you can see right here we have Earth Point. So if we click on this specific reward, this is on Polygon. That's where the token lives. They get Earth. They get 1 Earth for attending that. Or like this new one we baked in here. I'm working with the Charmbrus team to get the proper imagery here. But if they attend tonight's set, they're going to get a balance of Glow Dollar. Now, Glow Dollar, if you don't know about it, it's a fairly new stable coin. It is a stable coin whose mission is to end extreme poverty. So we're very much aligned with that mission. Essentially, from the psychological perspective now, we give people the endorphin release that they're learning something of substance of value that they could put into immediate action. But we're also giving them a secondary endorphin release in the distribution of the impact tokens or public good tokens that we've accumulated so far, in knowing that they're making an impact either from a social perspective or from an environmental perspective. So, I mean, who doesn't want to feel good about learning, especially when you can apply it, especially when you can make an impact that's not a direct impact necessarily, but it's an indirect impact nonetheless. So I wanted to kind of show that off real quick. Also, we were talking about Karma Gap. So Abraham just kind of flew you in here to Karma Gap because I do have to do a little bit of updating here on the Karma Gap side. But let me get logged in here real quick. Hopefully I've got 40 seconds left. So hopefully we can get this done. Can you see the Karma Gap page, by the way? My screen share? Yeah,
Yes.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure. So we're connecting via the wallet. So this is the value of Karma Gap. It's not doing it. Basically, I'll just go through this real quickly without logging in. I've got 15 seconds left. You list your project, right, on Karma Gap. You get what grants you've gotten. So this is like your grant description. This was for GG19. You get to put in milestones and updates. Boom, boom, boom. That's what we did on milestones updates. And then you get to put in impact criteria as well. That's Karma Gap in a nutshell.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Will, for all the excellent work that you're doing. Really appreciate it. And by the way, first, when I put your heart, there's lots of great emojis when Abraham was going too. Abraham with the claps. Great to see all the amazing work happening here. Really appreciate it. And Will, would you like to pick somebody to go next? So far, we haven't heard from Rosmari or Jean, and I also have to share my presentation, my contributions too.
Yeah, I'm gonna pick on Jean because I'm not familiar with Jean, nor have I seen Jean in here before. But if Jean was new last week and I missed it, my apologies.
Sounds good.
Sure. No worries. Yeah. Hello. I haven't been contributing a whole great deal this week, but I did work on the Code of Conduct Council's proposal for season 6 coming up, and that's up for votes approval now, I believe. But outside of that, I wouldn't have any other contribution at the moment. So, Pastor Rosmari.
Okay, well, if you did want to share anything else, I know Will wasn't sure if you were here last week, so just to briefly respond to that, Will, Jean did join us for the first time last week, and he gave a bit of introduction to his work with the Code of Conduct Council and Optimism, and he's doing some really cool stuff. So, Jean, you only took like 15, 20 seconds there, so if you did want to add any more details or share any more about you or share what you've been up to with Optimism in general, I looked into your governance form and your history that you had linked when you were first applying to the code of council position. I saw you've been involved making lots of activity and lots of different protocols based around optimism and so forth for quite a while. So if you want to just keep it short and pass it on to Rosmari, then that's cool. But if you did want to take a few more minutes to share anything more about what you've been up to with optimism or just more of a overall introduction or overview for Will or anybody watching, then feel free and the floor is yours to do so.
Sure. Yeah. Thanks. Yeah, I kind of started working towards this direction through the Token Engineering Commons, which is a DAO/Commons based on token engineering that grew out of the Giveth Galaxy and the collective group there, and started initially as a co-vesting club, sort of, through the Trusted Seed, which is developed by Common Stack, and had the opportunity to develop through the Gravity program there, which has since spun off as Gravity DAO, and went through the training several times to become a Graviton, which was the kind of foundational basis for my effort to work within the Code of Conduct Council for Optimism. Yeah, honestly, if I'm truthful, I really struggle with this process of like validating my own contributions and trying to basically project my own impact. I really rather struggle with it and find it difficult to assert myself. So I have a sort of a significant degree of empathy and compassion for anybody who's trying to work into the DAO or work through the system to contribute to optimism. because it's not particularly transparent all the time, and it is quite a process to deobfuscate the different legal entities and the different structures that exist to kind of understand how to contribute and what direction to pull in and how to navigate that process. So yeah, I appreciate everybody's effort. Yeah, yeah, thank you. Apologies for rambling, but thanks. Pass to Rosmari.
Thank you, Gene, and no worries at all. It wasn't a ramble, it was very interesting. And thanks for the feedback too. If there's anything we could do to help make you feel more comfortable and share contributions, I'm not totally sure. Could you start talking about general stuff about optimism and like understanding the whole optimism ecosystem? But then it seemed like earlier you're talking about the process of sharing your contributions, Optimism Fractal being somewhat difficult in some ways. So perhaps I'm misunderstanding. Feel free to let me know if I am. But well, that's, I suppose, on those 2 points. For one thing, we're here to help people understand optimism, and really appreciate people like you leading the way and help people understand and playing a leading role. And then here at Optimism Fractal with your second process, if there's anything we could do to help make you feel more comfortable, I mean, feel free. It's very interesting to hear from you, however you share it. And then some notes that could help too is like if you write out some notes about what you did, or if you want to share your screen, that can help guide it too. But happy to discuss that more in detail later, or hear more of your feedback. And maybe I'll stop talking now because I know you pass on to Rosmari and I keep jumping in. So feel free to share any response to that, Gene, if you want, or Rosmari, whenever you're ready to go, then feel free.
Okay, I'm ready. So how I contributed to Optimism is I edited the event videos from the past 2 weeks, the Optimism Fractal 26th event, and also shared it in our Discord channel, as well as the Eden Fractal 98th event. That both of these happen on a weekly basis, Eden Fractal on Wednesday and Optimism Fractal on Thursdays. And I also was working to draft the timestamps for both of them too. So that was one thing. They're both listed as unlisted, but the Eden Fractal video is also shared in the Eden Fractal Telegram channel. And it's great to see more people joining there that are actually Optimism enthusiasts. So we had a great discussion, which I'll touch upon a bit later. I also shared in our Discord, Optimism Fractal Discord channel, a reminder and invitation for today's event. I created this beautiful image of Optopics, which is a cagendas game that will play during the second event of Optimism Fractal, of Optimism Town Hall coming up in 30 minutes. And then also I followed up with a reminder and another invitation today. Again, inviting people for today's event. And I share this message across different channels, like the Eden Fractal Telegram channel, and same reminder there, as well as the Twitter, a reminder for today's event. And I made this nice tweet with the help of Dan, who is providing feedback in each of these social media promotions too. So thank you, Dan. And also I'm finding my way into getting the active badge on Farcaster, so my messages could hopefully be more seen. I am posting in both Opie Stack and Optimism Stack in Optimism channels, and I'm trying to engage more with people there. And apparently there's going to be a Farcaster update where it removes these restrictions on active badges showing their messages in recent only. So I hope that my messages are more seen in Farcaster because I like the platform in general. Here I also shared a forum post in the Optimism governance discourse, inviting to the respect game, then introducing Optopics, and then also inviting to the next Optimism Town Hall and presenting the outcomes from the first one, as well as the video recording. And then I attended the joint house call where actually Dan spoke and announced the Optimism Town Hall event coming up, and I was there to support. And also, yes, I've been active, as I mentioned, in Farcaster, and I shared this message and inviting people to Eden Fractal events. I also joined, and here I'm like making more Farcaster kind of connections, but this is the main event promotion for Eden Fractal, where I invite everyone to join. That was on Wednesday. And then for this Optimism Town Hall article, which Dan created initially, I helped to curate some of the information for it and then started to provide feedback in another article. And then I worked on kind of sorting out my priorities with catching up on the video uploading and promotion. That's it from me.
All right.
I don't time it right. I just never have the time to finish everything here. Right.
Yeah, that's part of the challenge. But very nice presentation. I know I've been working closely with you, and you've done a whole lot this week. And it's always difficult when you're working really hard and doing lots of stuff to summarize in 4 minutes. But we're practicing each time to get better and better at presenting it. So appreciate all you're doing very much, Rosmari.
Okay.
Now,
Let's see how you go.
I suppose I might struggle with the same thing, but I've also got a bit more practice than you too. So maybe I can time it a little bit better. If you could put the timer up for me, I appreciate it. Also, Will sharing some interesting links. Maybe we'll give a shout out to that afterwards. And Rosmari, if you could please get the fractogram ready while I'm presenting too, then I'd appreciate that.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Are you ready?
Yes. I'm gonna start going right now. Maybe I'll get an extra second. Okay, so I've been working a lot with the Optimistics this week. As I mentioned, team that started Optimism Fractal and working in the Optimistics blog. So I think Rosmari shared the Optopics or OP Topics article that we published, but published 3 articles this week on the blog about Optimism Town Hall, about cagendas and OP Topics. And so this is one thing I put together, like to try to just summarize it because we have so much information, and a lot of it was for the Optimism Fractal community, but working to position it and hope introduce it in like a concise way for the wider Optimism collective and Superchain and just in general. So have this article where I talk about synergies with Optimism Fractal and try to summarize. It's still a work in progress too, can still come together much better, but starting to get it more organized here and talk about how it uses the respect token, and introducing that. And we have lots of links where people can learn more about these. And then also talk about summarized cagendas, which we recently launched out of some Fractal a few weeks ago or at Optimism Town Hall. And then talk about the next steps and the project development and ways we can get involved and town hall videos. I suppose I can go over this more afterwards, but just try to like curate all the stuff that's been happening for the past few weeks, basically in a way that people who haven't been at the events can understand it. And similarly for cagendas, try to just explain this collaborative agenda creation game and how it works. And then also introduce it alongside OP Topics, which I came up with the idea this past week. I really like the idea of cagendas and the way it's worked. As I said, we've been experimenting with this for over a year at Eden Fractal. And one of the things we tried at Eden Fractal was making it so that we have like more interactive and flexible ways of playing cagendas. And we thought about how like you can play poker, and poker has many different game modes. And I think cagendas is the same way. There's many different types of games for cagendas, and one of these is OP Topics or Optopics, with OP the optimistic octopus. And so this is a game that allows people to vote on or to suggest topics rather than propose topics. Makes it a lot easier to just suggest topics easily in the Discord or at events, and then have ways that we can decide to move between topics as we discuss. So little section, I actually put together the article too, which I forgot to add here too. There's videos from prior ones that I from the Eden Fractal events that I included here, but yeah, there's a section about Optopics and a article here where it talks about like the differences between these games and the benefits and so forth. So I've been curating all that information to try to make this understandable, because I know we've shared a lot of information and trying to bridge it for people who don't quite understand and try to bring these new concepts to people. I'm working a lot on Notion to develop these projects and then bringing it involved in these places too. So you can see you can see a bunch of different tasks to develop Optopics, where I've been designing how the game works and figure out how to promote it. I also came up with, thanks to AI a little bit, this Opie character, and then Rosmari's been taking it from there with some amazing art and so forth. And we've been collaborating on that. And I've also been working a lot on on creating and executing a promotional strategy for Optimism Town Hall, because I think it'd be a great way to bring Optimism Fractal's innovations to the wider Optimism Superchain ecosystem in a more digestible way. So there's lots more tests and stuff I've been working on there. And I suggested 4 topics for the event today. I also proposed some, I'm probably skipping out some things, but like I put up the snapshot poll and created the snapshot spaces for these and stuff. And I put up this poll that we'll get into more in detail. And I put together some projects about engaging with the base ecosystem with a bunch of tasks that I've been following and engaging more with the Optimism Collective. I've been reading a lot of different new articles from Optimism and Base and figure out how we can best connect with them. So I can go over these in more detail. And then as Rosmari said, I presented at the Optimism dual house call or both house call. And I've also been working on building the Optimism Fractal app too, as best as I can. So I've been working to coordinate this development and working with several developers to build this for the past few months now. And one of the things I did this week was I found out about cross mint and did some research into Zora where people could mint their own respect with art and stuff like that. So I went back towards ChatGPT a lot to make it easy for people to mint respect and make it so anybody can do it with a really artful way. I've also been working with Rosmari on creating templates to prepare for each event. There's a project here with more details. And I've also been providing feedback. Rosmari made a really nice post. She's making really nice posts here too. So I recommend people check those out and working on producing and sharing a lot of the prior videos too. It's rather difficult because we're producing so many videos and we have so much on our plate to figure out how to promote it best. So we've been talking a lot about these promotional strategies. Looks like I'm not organizing my time that well either. But just to wrap it up, I also hosted the Eden Fractal event, which we host every Wednesday at 17 UTC, where we are pioneering and growing these fractal decision-making processes like the Respect game and like the Optimism Fractal Council. We've been doing this for the past couple of years, and I introduced a new event called Fractal Forums, which is pretty similar to Opie Topics. And we tried this out in a different way with an app called Slido. And so we kind of pioneered and tested the Opie topics, as well as we talked about optimism related topics and building our product and so forth. So I've also been thinking about moving, posting consensus results from Eden Fractal on Base as well. But I went a minute over there, so my apologies for going over. Well, I'm glad that you loved cagendas. Thanks so much for joining. Rosmari shared the Telegram group, so if anybody hasn't joined there yet, then I encourage you to please join. Looks like there's just a couple members in there now, so that's where we can reach consensus for our for who helped the most, who helped Optimism the most, who helped Optimism second most, who helped Optimism third most, and then we'll all receive respect when we reach consensus, and people who get higher levels will receive more. If anybody has any questions or comments for anybody or wants to share anything while everybody's joining, then feel free to do so now. And if we can also wrap up the—
I just got invite link is valid or expired.
Huh. I was able to join easily by just clicking the link.
Let me try again. I'm trying to do it through the desktop.
Okay.
I'll just do it through my browser.
Yeah, I had to try a second
I
time.
see everyone has joined.
Okay.
So maybe you're trying to join again.
Yeah,
But
I'm in now.
only Zaal has not. No, he has as well. So I'll generate the prompt to insert your accounts, your public keys.
Thank you, Rosmari. Yeah, so if everybody can please enter their accounts there now. And it looks like we have accounts from everybody but Rosmari. While Rosemary's taking care of that, I can also, Will had mentioned the official link for Hypercerts, Hyperminter, XYZ, talking about signature for the project and tied to the blockchain and the Ethereum attestation service, which we talked about in a recent event. Really interesting stuff, and I agree, good recommendations. And Rosmari finished putting up her account, so now we'll put up the prompt for level 6. If anybody has any questions for anybody, then feel free to ask, but otherwise you can now rank who you think did the most help Optimism. this week. Okay, and we do not have consensus. We have 2 votes for Abraham, 1 vote for Gene, 2 votes for me, and 1 vote for Rosmari. Would anybody like to Abraham's making a face like we're in trouble? Will we reach consensus? Will we reach respect? The plot thickens. Okay, does anybody want to advocate for either way, or anybody interested in changing their vote either way? Because we have to reach 4 to 6 consensus. I see somebody switched the vote to me, so I have 3 votes now. I could switch myself for consensus, or also I could advocate more for Abraham. He's doing really exciting work. I love the screen share, the presentation, and the apps you're building. It's like you're on fire building apps.
I'm gonna advocate for Gene, because doing code of conduct work, that is not easy. That is very difficult to establish those parameters. So I'm going to advocate for Gene on
that. I agree. I mean, I was really impressed looking into Gene's work. I recommend Gene. Also, by the way, I forgot, something I think maybe I've had to mention, maybe I mentioned last week, is that you're very welcome to share links either here in the Zoom chat or especially in the Discord chat, so we can learn more about your work. Because I think that Gene, I really appreciate Gene joining, and also his support. I saw he was supporting and joining the Token House call too, or the Token and Citizens House call, and yeah, it was really cool looking into his work. And I think that like I'd like to hear Gene, like I know you're saying I think he had some like difficulty expressing some of it, so I'd like to hear Gene like share more what he's doing. But I recommend checking into his work that he's done in the past. I think it sounds really impressive, and I think that deserves a lot of respect as well.
I'm interested to hear more about exactly what he's doing. I don't know all the details there.
But it looks like we might have consensus now.
Okay, yeah, it looks like I have 4 votes now. So, well, thank you, everybody. I appreciate it. And we can move on to level 5. And we don't yet have consensus, so there's 2 votes for Abraham from myself and Gene, and 3 votes from Gene, from Rosmari, Zaal, and Will, and 1 vote for Rosmari from Abraham. Does anybody want to advocate either way?
We have consensus.
We have consensus. Okay, we got Gene at level 5.
Okay. Congrats.
Thank you for all the great work, Gene, and sharing with us here at Optimism Fractal. Much appreciated. Got some claps from Will here. And we can go to level 4. And it looks like there's consensus for Abraham with 4 votes. Thank you, Abraham. And level 3. Okay, level 3, we have a split consensus with 3 votes for Rosmari and 3 votes for Zaal. This one's really difficult. I was also thinking about voting for Will too. Will was doing really cool stuff, and I really like the fractal, the Zaal fractal thing that Zaal had shared. That sounds fascinating. And I also really appreciate that Zaal has been doing a lot to promote Optimism Fractal. He's put out probably like, I don't know, 5 or 10 messages. And he also invited people who joined Eden Fractal, which is, I think, really helpful for Optimism as well. So that's why I voted for Zaal. I've also been working with Rosmari, and she's been doing really, really good work this week too. So happy to go either way. Curious to hear what everybody thinks.
I advocate for Zaal because as Dan mentioned, he's been promoting the event, tweeting about it, forecasting about it, inviting people, and also has been joining Eden Fractal too, and invited Candy to Eden Fractal. So that's a lot of contributions. He didn't mention that, but now he's got consensus for level 3. Congrats.
Yeah, Zal's presentation this week was very brief, I guess, because he was moving, but I know he's doing a lot, and I had the pleasure to see it at the Eden Fractal and in a call I had with Zaal last week. Okay, so we can move on. Will's giving claps. Zal's putting hearts. Sounds great. People are voting on level 2. And it looks like yet again we do not have consensus. What a game we got here. All right. Who will it be? 50-50 again. There's 3 votes for Will, 3 votes for Rosmari. Anybody want to advocate either way?
I'm going to advocate for Rosmari because, like Dan, she lives and breathes this community of Optimism Fractal, and she embraces everything. And I think the character design on the, what do you call it, OP topics, Optopic is just, I know you started the groundwork on that, but I know the speaker okay. I think it's just very, very cool how that part of the community is getting represented. And I feel that that's something that can resonate with the larger audience.
Okay, sounds good. Well, thanks very much for the positive feedback. Will, appreciate that. And I suppose I was voting for Will because I feel like I really respect what Will is doing. I really appreciate it, and I think both Rosemary and Will both have gotten lower rankings like last week or something like that. I don't know, maybe I'm misremembering. I know that they both gotten high rankings in the past, but yeah, I think what you're doing, Will, with the courses is like really pioneering and super helpful. I'm very interested in learning more and collaborating there, as well as with Let's Grow and the stuff that you shared with Karma. I just think it's awesome. But I'm also happy to go with Will's recommendation and switch my vote to Rosemary to reach consensus as well. So maybe I'll go ahead and do that. Welcome, Gudasol. I'm gonna just mute you. Okay, there you go. Thanks for joining, Gudasol. So yeah, I'll switch to Rosemary because I know she has been living and breathing, and she's doing really, really good work. I think that we're reaching like a turning point where like a lot of time we were kind of like, how do we promote this? How do we promote this? Because we are doing so many events, so many videos and stuff like that. But Rosemary's really getting like on top of it and making better promotions and more promotions than ever. So another week I could easily give her level 6, but I'll give her level 2 here and we'll vote. And so we have consensus for the respect game. So thanks so much, Rosemary. Thanks so much, Will. Thanks so much, everybody, for the amazing respect game. And Rosemary, when you can
Thank you for the kind words, Will and Dan.
You're very welcome.
Well deserved. You're earning respect.
Yes, and we all are. We all are earning respect.
And welcome, Gudasol.
Welcome, Gudasol.
Guys, here, sorry I'm like super late.
No problem. No, we appreciate you joining whenever you can. You did miss the respect game, but you can always join the respect game in future weeks, and you're in time for the second ever Optimism Town Hall. And we also have 6 or 7 minutes just to hang out and kind of chill and talk about anything as well before we get into the formally scheduled Optimism Town Hall, or we can jump into that town hall earlier too if we want. But yeah, if everyone could please submit the results using the Fractogram app, the Telegram app, where it says results can be submitted here. If you please click where it says here and then submit that on chain. And when 4 to 6 of us submit on chain, then everybody will get respect according to the rules of the respect game. And there to find it, optimismfractal.com/details.
Do you have the character sequence, Dan?
I haven't yet submitted it yet, but I'm going to
Okay,
do so
I've
now.
got it here if anybody else needs it.
Okay, yeah, if you want to either say it or share a screenshot to it or write in the chat, then feel free anyway. Either way.
Okay, I can do that.
Sounds good.
I'll put it in the chat. I'm not gonna pick it up.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
Well,
I confirm I see the same.
sounds good. I saw the same too. And now, well, what shall we do? Does anybody have anything on their mind that they want to share right now at this point before the town hall starts in the next 5 minutes? Has everybody been able to submit? I suppose that's the first thing we should do. Have we got 4 to 6? I've submitted.
I did.
Okay. I have a thumbs up coming out of my head now. This was on my mind. Were we able to submit that?
Yeah, I submitted.
Okay. Cool. Sounds good. Gene and Zaal, I think you guys got it. If you have any issues, let us know. I was also talking with Vlad this week about fixing the issues so we don't have to confirm every time. So I think that's Das working on an app. Das has been in build mode lately. I think he's been very secretive, and I think he's working on a Fractal app, and he might be coming out with something in 7 or 8 days. Hint. Not much. I'm not trying to put out too much expectations, but my understanding is that Das will come out with something really nice that'll be available soon. My suspicion, at least.
Everyone has submitted. I confirm.
Okay, sounds great. Thanks for
Or
the
at least
confirmation.
the 4 out of 6 at least we have.
Okay, very cool. Well, if nobody has anything that they want to share that's on their mind now, then maybe we'll just jump into the Optimism Town Hall a few minutes early. I suppose we could, or we could just like chill out and relax for a minute or two. Or also, there's something that Will had mentioned about Hypercerts and Ethereum attestation service, which he wrote in the chat, that we kind of like I mentioned briefly, but I kind of just said it really
You want
quickly.
me to
And
expand on that a little bit? Dan,
if you
since we have a few minutes.
if you'd like to, and perhaps that would be helpful for Abraham's development work
Sure.
as well.
Yeah, so Hypercerts basically is an on-chain way of proving that an event happened with verification by the contributors to said event, right? So it very much is like the project manager sign up in the Web 2 world, like a project manager certifying that a project has been completed, right? And so this can be applied to an event, it can be applied to a product or a project. There's a lot of parameters involved in it. When we were exploring how we were going to do on-chain certifications for our courses inside of our learning center, this was one of the options we explored. We partnered directly with one of the developers of the team, and then they said they were not at a point yet to provide that type of certification for like educational events, right? So that's why we baked in now EAS, which is Ethereum attestation service, which they have, I don't know how many different hundreds of schemas out there, and they go across the entire EVM model. So they even have ones you can deploy out on Optimism. But because they're so well integrated with Chartburst, when we started migrating our learning center into Chartburst from Google Classroom, that was one of the opportunities that we took advantage of. And because we were already had an internal process in place that anytime someone completed a course, we would go out, deploy a smart contract, we would release to them an ERC 1155 through our contract that we deployed for that upfront certification that's visible in their wallet. But the EAS adds another layer to the backend certification that is also immutable. So it's not just us saying it, it's someone else saying that this is a valid certification. So it gives us more credibility. I feel it gives us more validity in the space of what we're doing, the content we're curating, and how we're deploying that to our learner base, and then certifying them as learners on that specific content. And then if it's a accumulation of it, we can also go one layer, or we can go one layer more and say, now you're certified on this entire course, right? So it very much to me is a Web3 way of getting like a college or university credit or accreditation in the Web2 world. So yeah, that's a little more context about both of those services.
All right, sounds great. Thank you very much for the additional information, Will, and pioneering with these. Really interesting. Abraham, if you wanted to share any quick thoughts about that, then feel free. Or Gudasol, if you want to say hello, I really appreciate you joining and hope you're doing well. We're going to start the town hall in the next minute or so. So I want to be pretty punctual about it, but if anybody wants to share any thoughts or anything like that beforehand, then feel free.
Hey, I got a kind of question for whoever. I was looking at like Optimism layer 2s and curious if anybody has like opinions on that. So like base is the one I was looking at, kind of looking at transaction fees, things like that. Just poking my head in, so don't know a lot, and seeing if anybody had any opinions or recommendations.
Sounds good. Thanks, Gudasol. That kind of leads us into our topics as well, because I proposed a topic about base today and about engaging with the base ecosystem. And I've been looking into the fees as well and everything else. Lots of exciting information about base, as well as the Opie mainnet. Optimism Superchain has a whole superchain of, or the Optimism Collective has a whole superchain of many different chains with doing amazing things. So maybe I'll go ahead and start the presentation for the Optimism Town Hall. And I'll also first just weave in some stuff about Optimism and Base, and then bring it back to the town hall, and I'll also mention a little bit of Hypercerts too, and then we can discuss this in more details. I'd be happy to follow up with you about this as well, Gudasol. Thanks a lot for looking into it. Gudasol, for anybody who doesn't know, is you're very welcome. For anybody who doesn't know, Gudasol is a great developer and community builder and community host who's been building in the Web3 space with music apps for a long time. And so really cool to see that he's expressing interest in building with Base and building with Optimism. So when you go to optimism.io, you can see the different chains in the super chain. There's a whole bunch more too. They actually just announced a thing, like a registry that will have a bunch more, but you can find Base there, and you can find more about Base at base.org. And the transaction fees are quite low. I was looking at Dune, and they're actually, I think, lower than the Opie mainnet right now. It's quite cheap, but we can get into more detail. I also need punctual for the Optimum Town Hall too. Punctuality is a big thing that I'm trying to improve at. But also, this is what Will was sharing about Hypercerts, hypermentor.xyz, where you can learn more about this and mint them, and then also hypercerts.org, where you can see how people can reward impact with this new primitive for public goods. Really exciting stuff going on. Lots of podcasts. You can learn more about it too. And then I will get into, one other thing about the Ethereum attestation service. We've been talking about this a lot at Eden Fractal, at Optimism Fractal rather, and we have a project to explore and create integrations with EAS. And back in our 20th event a couple months ago, we did an episode where that was like the main topic during what we called the planning session at that time. So for anyone who wants to check it out, we have a video called Attestation Nation, where we're also thinking about integrating this with the Respect game as well. So we can go into more details about all that. And we're really looking forward to getting to the base discussion too. But first, I'll kick it off by sharing a little presentation about the Optimism Town Hall. So everybody, welcome to Optimism Town Hall. We're here for our second town hall ever. And we're right after the 27th Optimism Fractal event. So thanks everybody so much for joining us. Thanks for watching. Really appreciate you being here. This will be about a half-hour event that we have. It's a new collaborative space and weekly event for impactful discussions, open and structured discussions about optimism and its pioneering interactive ways to optimize meeting time, with fun social games such as cagendas and a new type of cagendas game called Optopics or Optopics that enable community members to prioritize topics and deliberate democratically and form consensus on key issues with on-chain reputation tokens. So it's also just a really fun time to a place to get involved with discussions about optimism and experience the future of collaboration and help build the future of collaboration too. So we recently came up with a new blog post, optimistics.io/Optimism Town Hall, where you can learn more about the Optimum Town Hall. They happen every Thursday at 18 UTC, and everybody's welcome to join, and we welcome you to invite friends too. We're aiming to grow this event to really help the Optimism Collective and grow the Superchain and help the world as much as possible with all sorts of great innovations. as I mentioned, we were right after the 27th Optimism Fractal event. So for anybody who's not familiar, Optimism Fractal is a community dedicated to fostering collaboration and awarding public goods creators on optimism. And we host weekly events, Optimism Fractal, where people can play the Respect game, which is a consensus game that where people foster collaborations, and we evaluate positive impact to see who helps the optimism the most. And we also use a non-transferable token called Respect to coordinate decentralized governance and all sorts of other stuff, such as voting on topics in the Optimism Town Hall. So a lot more details you can learn. Everybody can, this was actually approved by a proposal with the Optimism Fractal Council, and you can see how to propose topics in the Optimism Town Hall with this community agenda game called Cagendas. Anybody can propose a topic by creating a poll in the Optimism Town Hall snapshot space, and anyone who earned respect can vote on the polls with respect to help determine the discussion topic for each weekly event. And topics that get votes by 17 ETC, whichever topic gets the most votes by then, will be the topic that we discuss at the Optimism Town Hall. So those are the rules that were approved by the Optimism Fractal consensus process to start up Optimism Town Hall. And we're also exploring many innovations at the Optimism Town Hall, such as ways that more stakeholders in the Optimism collective, like citizens and delegates and public goods creators of all kinds, can get involved with the votes and the games and stuff like that. Everybody's welcome to join, though, as is. And right now the voting is with Optimism Fractal Respect. So there's more details here where you can learn about the history about this and the new games that we're playing, and the new ways we're doing it, and ways that you can get involved and shape the future by attending Optimism Town Hall events, proposing topics, suggesting topics, which we'll mention a little bit today about the difference between this, and contributing to development in a Notion project, where this is a very much community-driven event, so everybody's welcome to contribute. And also we aim to help everybody earn funding by helping contribute to Optimism 2 with retro funding, and participate in the weekly events an hour before to play the Respect game too. You can watch some videos of the announcement and the first times we were discussing the Optimism Town Hall and Cagendas back in our first seasonal event for Optimism Fractal back a couple weeks ago. And there's some timestamps here where you can learn more where we discussed this, and I gave a little introduction, had a great event there. And then another one from last week where we explored Optimism Town Hall and Cagendas in a lot more detail, gave a pretty detailed presentation there. So we had some great discussions here, and there's timestamps where you can skip around and see more about what we discussed at the Optimism Town Hall, as well as some related posts like about Cagendas and OP topics or Optopics with our new friend Opie, the optimistic octopus. For anybody who wants to learn more, optimismfractal.com is a place where you can learn more about the events, and everybody's welcome to join on Thursday at 7 UTC. And Rosmari had put out a really nice post too that gives a good summary of this on the Optimism governance forum too. It is taking a moment to load right now, but it is loading now. So you can see my post here where I introduce this new Cagendas consensus game called OP Topics or Optopics in the Optimism Governance Forum, as well as on the Optimistics blog that I showed you. And then you can kind of see an overview of everything I said here, but the Respect game, as well as some great reviews from people in the Optimism Superchain about the Respect game. People are really enjoying it and loving it. So I encourage everybody to join. And then about this new Optopics game and Opie, the optimistic octopus. So more details you can find there. And for anybody who was interested in learning about how we started this whole thing, Optimism Fractal Council, optimismfractal.com/council, you can see how we make proposals and we can start initiatives like the Optimism Town Hall and so forth, and learn more about Cagendas and the Optimism Town Hall snapshot space on the blog article and on Snapshot here. So this week I put up a topic. Well, first off, I should maybe take a step back. It's a little bit difficult to say all this stuff because there's so much new stuff going on, but we had put up a proposal for implementing Cagendas into Optimism Town Hall, and that proposal was approved a few weeks ago. And then I put up a proposal for Let's Play Optopics or OP Topics this past week. And this is an experimental Cagendas game that allows respective community members to suggest, vote, and dynamically coordinate discussion topics during our events. So the rules are here basically, and these are like the first draft of rules, so we can do different rules in the future. We can modify these, but basically anyone can suggest topics just by putting up a message in the Optimism Fractal Discord and the new Optimism Town Hall channel. It could be just a quick question or a few words, so feel free to keep it short. Or if you want to share something more detailed, like some links or anything like that, then you're welcome to do so. And just feel free to share anything related to optimism. And then there's a poll that's created, that was created on Wednesday, where all topics that were suggested before Wednesday 17 UTC were included as options. And so now everybody can vote in that poll and allocate respect votes with a quadratic voting system, and allocate votes across as many topics as you'd like, so you can influence the community's agenda, and then the votes are weighted quadratically. So participants can change their votes now as well at any point during the Optimism Town Hall. It'll be open until 18:30 DC. And then we also have a system too where you can move on to the next topic. So if you have enough of one topic, then if you want to just write in next topic in the chat. The way I wrote this is that any well-respected community member who's earned at least 100 respect can propose switching topics by typing next topic in the chat. We can also do it with just everybody here too if we want, but basically that's the rules of the game that were posed. So I suppose we should stick with that. But then if somebody says next topic in the chat or just out loud, then somebody can veto that because it basically starts a 1-minute timer before it moves on to the next topic. But then if somebody else who's well-respected says same topic, then that vetoes it. And then if there's no veto, then we move on to the next topic. Or if at least half of the respected community members here agree, then we can just move to a new topic immediately. So this is like a first version of a game that allows us to have a simple structure that facilitates more interactive discussions where we can talk about lots of different topics. So once again, if you go to the article that's linked in here, then you can find more details and how this is different from the original Cagendas game too. There's a page here where it shows kind of the differences about. I know it's a lot of new information, but hopefully that all makes sense. And that's kind of the topic for today, actually. So if there's any questions about this, or that's basically what I want to do right now. I know this has been kind of a longer introductory presentation. In the future, I'll try to keep my introductory presentation short because this is a new game. I figured it's helpful to just introduce it. And this was actually the topic that has the most votes right now. So I put up that poll. You can see the new Optimism Fractal or the new Optimism Town Hall chat. This is where you can write suggestions for topics throughout the week whenever you want to discuss something at the Optimism Town Hall. And you can see a little intro overview of everything that I shared there about Optimism Town Hall and cagendas, along with links and Optopics. And then you can go and see the topics I suggested for this week before 17 UTC. And they are about introducing Optopics and exploring it, reflecting on Optimism Town Hall over the past couple weeks, Optimum Collective Season 6, and engaging with Base. Gudasol just mentioned engaging with Base too previously. So now basically we can use this poll that was now created where anybody can choose topic they'd like to discuss at this event and just vote. Like, for example, when I voted, I put 70% of my vote on introducing and exploring Optopics because I thought that was a good thing to discuss at first. And I put 10% on reflecting Optimism Town Hall because I'm curious. We discussed a lot of stuff. I'm curious if people have feedback or ideas or thoughts about it. And that kind of goes along with Optopics topic as well. And then 5% I vote on Optimism Collective Season 6 and engaging with Base, which I think are both really important topics, but I put more priority on the Optopics and Town Hall just because I thought that was kind of more relevant to start off with so we can have a better understanding of the rules of the game before we get into other topics. So anybody's welcome to do so now. If anybody, I see Rosmari just shared the snapshot.org/numbersign/Optimism Town Hall. So you can vote here. Like, for example, I can go over here and you can see my votes here if I want to change it to something else. Like, for example, if I want to talk about base now, and I can go and give this 105, which would be 55% of my respect vote now. Or if I wanted to give it 505, that's 85%. So throughout the game, if you want to change topics, then feel free to vote. So far, I'm the only person who voted. I know it's a lot of information. So it's okay if you haven't voted yet, you're just absorbing it, you just want to watch and listen. But at any point, if you want to influence the agenda, 1, you can suggest topics in the chat. 2, you can vote here and change your vote throughout the event. And then 3, you can also write next topic in the chat when you're ready to move to the next topic. So the order of topics for today is introducing and exploring Optopics, reflecting on Optimism Town Hall, Optimum Collective Season 6, and engaging with Base. And maybe just because Gudasol was just talking about engaging with Base, I'll give this maybe like 300, something like that, so I can move up. I see Gene says tried to vote but still have no voting power. Tadas shared he said he submitted the respect just earlier today. So that was for Season 6. You can see, or I don't know why I said Season 6. That was silly. That was for meeting 26. So I think you should have voting power, Gene. Gene wrote that. We'll try to troubleshoot it afterwards, but you can see, for who's not familiar, Tadas, developer with Optimistics, distributes respect for each week. And because Gene was there last week, I think he should get it. But we'll troubleshoot that and make sure that you're able to vote in future weeks. Apologies for the technical issue right now. We are sorting out lots of new things. If you want to just write in the chat, then that would be a way that we can just take your preferences into account, even though you can't vote this week, and then we'll make sure that we can get it figured out in future weeks. So yeah, that's kind of everything I wanted to share for the OP topics. Also, Rosmari put out some really nice posts too that were introducing Opie, the optimistic octopus. We're really excited about this new kind of character that can help lead governance and help share fun time in the Optimism Collective. So more on with this coming soon too. And I think OP topics can be something that we discuss every week or most weeks. Like basically the way I see it is that with cagendas, we can like propose topics. So if there's something you really want to discuss at the Optimism Town Hall, you could just put that on, and that's like the main topic, and you can assure that it'll be discussed. But if there's lots of topics that you might like to discuss, or if you want to make a quick suggestion, then Opie Topics is a game we could play like on most weeks or some weeks, to have it where we have like a more dynamic way where we can discuss several different topics during the event, and we can really get a better feel for what topics people want to discuss. And I welcome and encourage everybody to make topics and vote on topics to get involved and help guide the community, because this Optimism Town Hall event that we're doing, it is a new event. It's a very collaborative event, and we're aiming to like really make it a very collaborative process where everybody can guide it the way they want to help guide the future of optimism. So feel free to let me know. Those articles are there. I know there's a lot of information. So feel free to just dive into those articles, and we can share some links, or check out the Optimism Fractal Discord, where you can learn more in the new Optimism Town Hall chat, or all the links are shared in the snapshot that Rosmari just shared. But I'm happy to answer any questions, or happy to hear any feedback. Would love to hear feedback, or share any thoughts. Or if anybody wants to move on to the next topic, then we can do so as well. I see Rosmari sharing.
Well, I just
Jean.
voted on snapshot. So
Okay,
maybe
cool.
that changed
I
the
vote now.
order of your topics a little bit.
Okay, sounds good. Maybe I'll go ahead and share my screen again, just so people can see this in real time, how it is going. So here's the screen. I see Rosmari. By the way, Jean, Rosmari was checking, and she sees your account has some OPF, so you should be able to vote. Maybe you want to try again. I also see Aqueduct says, Gudasol says, Aqueduct the committee, he also need a friend for OP Octopus, maybe a dolphin or no. Okay, good. You know, OP the Octopus could definitely use some friends. That would be cool. So, okay, so we see Will's vote and Abraham's vote. Both voted with some OPF, and they left some comments too, or maybe they didn't leave comments, but they voted with their respect. And there might be a way to check out how much exactly they voted for. I don't know exactly how to do that from this interface, but you can see it in any case. It says they voted 22% for this. If I hover over, that's how you can see it. Yeah, thank you. So you can see what Abraham voted for there. If either of you guys want to share your thoughts about what you wanted to vote for, just to kind of walk people through it, then feel free. Otherwise, if somebody wants to write next topic in the chat, then when somebody writes next topic, then we'll start a 1 minute countdown, and then it just majority of us agree, then we'll just move immediately. Okay, Abraham wrote next topic. So now we'll start up a 1 minute timer. I'll start it up. And then if anyone else has any questions about this, or any last thoughts about this topic before we move on, then feel free to ask now or share it now. Or if you want to veto this, you could say same topic and you want to talk about it for longer. Or if everybody's just ready to move on to the next topic, then let us know and just write next topic in the chat, or feel free to say it out loud, and then we can just move on to the next topic immediately. Otherwise, we have 40 seconds left before we move on to the next topic. Okay, and we got another vote for next topic from Rosmari. And vote for next topic from Will, and vote for next topic from me. So now we move on to the next topic. Thanks everybody for playing and pioneering this game for OP Topics. I hope that this will be really fun, enjoyable. Hope it makes sense for everybody. And happy to hear feedback in the future in the Optimism Fractal Discord chat and at future events. So the next topic is now engaging with Base. That has 288 OPF voting for it. So I suppose maybe if anyone wants to just share any thoughts about Base, like for example, Gudasol, prior to the Optimism Town Hall chat, you were talking about how you're looking into Base, then feel free. I have a presentation ready too, so maybe I'll just real quick just share. For anyone who's not familiar, base.org. It's a secure, low cost, builder-friendly Ethereum L2 built to bring the next billion users on chain. It's been developed by Coinbase, which is one of the largest exchanges in the world and leading the Web3 space. It's built on Optimism with the OP stack, part of the the Optimism Superchain. So it's very aligned with Optimism Fractal and generally doing amazing things for the world. I've been following and learning a lot about Base. Base has really been growing a lot lately. It's a lot cheaper than Ethereum. It's building upon Ethereum, and all sorts of cool stuff that you can learn about on base.org on their articles, on their blog. And they also have an excellent YouTube channel with lots of videos you can learn about too. So happy to go into more detail about this too. You can also explore their apps and their grant programs and information for developers and so forth. They have a really great mission. Really encourage people to check it out. They also have a Farcaster channel, and they have a new initiative called Onchain Summer as well to unleash creativity and innovation around the world. And they're inviting everyone to build all summer long and helping people get rewarded too, because people who build on Base are also eligible for Optimism retro funding too. And then plus they have 600 ETH in rewards for Build-a-thon, Builder grants, gas credits, round grants, all sorts of things that they're doing to help support builders and help support. In their definition of builders, just people who like build communities, build software, build great experiences. Like basically everybody who's doing helpful stuff can do it with Base and be rewarded for doing so and everything like that. So there's a lot more we can go into here. I just try to give a quick high-level overview for anybody who's not familiar. And also I have a project where I've been doing a lot of research into the Base ecosystem and the Optimism Fractal Notion site to help inform people about Base and then figure out how Optimism Fractal and Optimism Town Hall can best serve and collaborate with the Base community. So there is some details here you can learn about the project. And then I'm still working on organizing this better, but like you can find tasks where I've basically been, whenever I see like a cool post on Twitter or Warpcast, Farcaster, and so forth, then I'll like add it here and I'll try to curate it so people can find different initiatives going on in the Base ecosystem and different ways that we can get involved. For example, like there's a Farcaster channel called Base Builds where anybody can post what they're building on, and they give away two ETH weekly to people who are building on Base. There's also a great show called Base Builder Fridays, and they have a great YouTube channel that you can learn about here that you can find out, where you can see interviews with the founder of Base, and he's talking about all the great developments that are happening here too. So if anybody wanted to look around that project, then feel free to do so. And you can also learn more about this new initiative for Onchain Summer. I think there's lots of opportunities for us to collaborate with Onchain Summer for growing Optimism Fractal and growing everybody's projects here. So I suppose I can wrap up my presentation there. I'm going to try to, give brief presentations. If anybody also wants to just jump in and share some thoughts, then feel free to raise your hand too. I'd really like to hear from more people, and happy to allocate this time however we can best do to help you and help everybody in the community. So I see Will raise his hand. So Will?
Yeah. Becoming a big fan of Base very quickly. From everything I've seen, it's all, I don't know, you call it the next shiny object, if you will. But I believe they have a solid foundation, right? As an example, it appears that there's a direct integration with Farcaster. So every NFT that we've ever minted or acquired on Base is immediately cast to Farcaster. So that's really cool. They also have, so through another builders community that we got involved with in a couple weeks back, Base is directly connected to them. And so it's true what you're saying, Dan, about Base really right now being about the builders and the people who are building on Base, right? With this Onchain Summer initiative, but they also have an ecosystem fund that you can apply for if you're a builder building on Base and get funding that way. And that's outside of their grants program. So I haven't really dived too much into their grants program, but I'm a big fan of it. Plus the platform that we use for all of our smart contract deployers, Base is one of the options there. So that makes it easy for us to deploy smart contracts onto Base. And everything I've seen about it really positive. Plus it ties in, like you said, to the Superchain ecosystem. So then there's opportunities there through the collective amount of transactions to be eligible for funding directly from OP. And I feel that the more funding sources that we have access to, the better, because especially for people who are working on smaller projects or people who are startups, if they can remain debt free and don't have to absorb any debt in their early stages, it's to their better sustainability and longevity of their life cycle. So that's the feedback I wanted to share. But I'm a big fan of Base. Haven't seen anything exorbitant in transactions yet on Base, so that's really cool. And to know that they're what did that thing say on there, Dan? 10x cheaper than OP, or was that 10x cheaper than Ethereum?
That's cheaper than Ethereum. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, just a big fan of it, and looking to build more on it.
Sounds great. Well, thanks, Will, for letting us know. I see Abraham has his hand raised too, so I'll pass over to Abraham now.
Yeah, just real quick. I don't have a whole lot. I think it's probably somewhat worth mentioning just that there's such a movement around the Farcaster Warpcast community with base builders. There's people spinning up apps on Warpcast all like daily, it seems like. So there's a lot of momentum behind it. They're not issuing a token for base, which is kind of noble. And then this particular development, I think, is pretty big in from a developer's perspective. Share my screen real quick. Hopefully this works. Desktop one. Yeah, so this guy, let's see, can you go bigger? There we go. Yeah, so this integrated wallets thing is a pretty big deal, embedded wallets. So as opposed to where you actually have to click your plugin, the Base SDK has released this embedded wallets thing where you can interact with a wallet without actually having to press all those buttons and know, all the details of the signing and all that. So it really brings that like Web 2 experience to Web 3, which I think it might really be a turning point for UI design and just usability of the Web3 products. So that's a pretty big deal.
Yep, I totally agree. Super excited about Base, and thanks for sharing your screen there and providing more information. Also, there's a smartwallet.dev. Coinbase and Base are developing a wallet that makes that really easy to interact with Web3 and the Ethereum ecosystem. So really exciting stuff going on there. We have 4 minutes left till the end of the Optimism Town Hall. If anyone else would like to, if there's anything else you want to share, Abraham or Will, about Base, then feel free to do so. If anyone else has any other thoughts that you want to share on this topic, I don't know if I'll have time for another topic. Probably not, unless we try to like really rush it. But we could also start to just wrap it up. And if anybody has any last thoughts about Base, I'm happy to hear. And I can also share a couple more screens I pulled about Base too. So I'm ready to do that whenever. Or feel free if anyone else wants to jump in.
There's one last thing I'll mention is just that through Third Web, so they kind of have an SDK and an API to interact with the blockchain. Their NFT integration on Base Sepolia is pretty good. It's not as good with Optimism Sepolia. So it seems like a lot of traction is being given in some of these API service providers to Base as a chain.
Okay, well, thanks for the helpful information. Hopefully that's helpful for you, Gudasol. So Gudasol's been building on another Web3 network, which also has a really performant technology, but also it doesn't have a lot of the things that Base has, a lot of really exciting things there. So Gudasol, if you had any other thoughts you wanted to share, then feel free. If you had any questions, if anyone has any questions or anything else we could share for next week's event too. I see Gudasol's putting the thumbs up. If anyone wants to jump in, then feel free. Or if not, then maybe I'll just go ahead and share a little bit more with Base and then start to wrap up the second Optimism Town Hall and thank everybody and so forth. I'll give it a couple seconds. If anyone wants to jump in. And I'll go for it now. Okay, so a couple of more things I wanted to add about Base. We covered a lot of it, but base.org as a reminder. Really encourage people to check out the YouTube videos as well. Just a great place to learn a lot of details about Base in a condensed way because there's so much information that's happening. And I find that Jesse Pollock, who's the founder and creator of Base, has a lot of great information. He hosts these, and then the Mirror blog as well too. These new initiatives for Onchain Summer and the Buildathon. These are happening. Actually, the due date for the Buildathon, I believe, is May 29th or May 30th. So that might be a good opportunity. Gudasol or anybody else who's interested in building on Base to take part in this, both for like funding available and also for support, like technical support and support and promotions. this is a really helpful initiative. I watched Onchain Summer I last year, and now they're doing it much bigger. So encourage people to check it out. This will be going between June 3rd and ending in August. And they have some really big partnerships actually with Stripe, and I guess I'm on the wrong blog post right now, but there's like Stripe and Shopify and like some really big companies, as well as Zora and the Superchain and several others. You're taking a lot of load, but if you go to the mirror post, yeah, there you can find it. You can find some of the different channels and tracks you can find to participate in the build-a-thon that's coming up with Onchain Summer, and explore to learn more. I was also trying to pull up, then this is also smartwallet.dev. There's a great video that Jesse does on the YouTube channel about this. And then I was trying to pull up just a show about the transactions. I found the Dune Analytics site, but I can't find it right now. But that's something that could be helpful. Actually, I think I just found it too. So if anybody was interested in like diving deeper into like how Base works and stuff like that, you can go to this Superchain Analytics dashboard for Dune, where you can find more details about the fees and stuff like that. It's taking a lot of load, but there's a lot of details to show basically immense growth. Like the growth curve for Base is like exponential right now because people are really enjoying it. Once again, there's this project. If anybody wants to find more details or add to it throughout the week, anybody who has access to the Optimism Fractal Notion site, feel free to ask for access if you don't. And there's lots of information here in addition as well, so we can collaborate our collaborations, if that makes sense, so we can work together in engaging with Base as Optimism Fractal, as well as help everybody else do so. And we're at time, so I'm going to wrap it up. But this has been a wonderful time. I think I'm going to propose Opie topics again for next week. But feel free if anyone wants to propose a topic with agendas. Then there's this Optimism Town Hall snapshot space. So feel free just anytime throughout the week to go and propose a topic, anything that's on your mind. And then everybody can vote for it with respect to discuss the next topic at Optimism Town Hall. And we'll also, if we do Opie topics again, then anybody can also, well, people can just suggest it in the Optimism Town Hall Discord chat, which you can find on the Optimism Fractal Discord server. So feel free to suggest topics or propose topics. Hopefully this has been a great time for you. Happy to hear feedback. Rosmari also put out a poll for who wants to be in the week 20 Egg Council. So this week's council is determined, but next week's council, this poll will be ending next week. So if you want to participate in helping to lead Optimism Fractal and make decisions and so forth, then please register here to participate. And then lastly, we're going to be meeting again for Optimism Fractal next Thursday at 17 UTC, and then Optimism Town Hall on next Thursday, 18 UTC. And we also host the Eden Fractal events, where we're pioneering these fractal processes and condensed games and so forth on Wednesday, 16 UTC. So encourage you all to join. Thank you so much for the event. And I suppose we can wrap it up. I was just looking for the link to just end on the town hall, because we're talking the town hall right now, but I can't find the link. Okay, never mind. The link is just not coming up, but we're discussing. Oh, there it is. I was just on the bottom of the page. So thanks all for the amazing town hall, as the picture doesn't load. Okay, I suppose any last thoughts, or should we go 3, 2, 1, go Optimism? I don't know. We usually go Optimism Fractal, and I suppose we could still do that, but it's also town hall. So I suppose we could say go Optimism Fractal and town hall, maybe.
Go P Town Hall. How about that?
Okay, we could do that too.
Okay.
Okay, ready? 3, 2, 1, 0. Go
P Town Hall.
P Town Hall and Optimism Fractal and Optimism Town Hall. All right, thanks all so much for the amazing event, and see you next week.
See you.